Today, Trump made a major move to end sanctuary cities and illegal immigration, and that is to cut federal funding to sanctuary cities, starting February 1st over immigration policies. This is a major move because right now, a lot of blue states and a lot of blue cities do not turn over illegal immigrants that they catch for committing crimes. They don't turn over information on illegal immigrants that have been arrested and not been convicted. They don't give away this information, and even when they do, even when they have an incident there, local law enforcement doesn't do nothing. They don't give any information to the federal government. And that's a major, major, major hindrance to the ICE operations, to actually enforcing the rule of law within the cities. And particularly, it's a major hindrance to immigration policies. But with this plan to cut federal funding to sanctuary cities, they might start changing their tune, and might actually end up starting to cooperate with ICE because they lose funding. Previously throughout the U.S., this has been done multiple times. One major example was Ronald Reagan when he tried to push for the drinking age to go to 21. He ended up threatening funding for state-level infrastructure and highway infrastructure spending, threatening states that did not have the legal age of 21. He said that if they didn't move it up to 21, they wouldn't give infrastructure money. So this has been shown to work in the past, and it's worked plenty of times and other times too. So this is a major, major incentive for a lot of Democrat cities because they actually receive a ton of money. If you look at the deficits in a lot of these blue cities, they're massive, and that's even with U.S. Federal funding in a lot of states. Right now, Chicago is actually going through a major, major crisis because they actually have a law in the books where they have to increase property taxes to make sure that they have a certain portion of their deficits a certain point that's low enough. But right now, they can't actually get the deficit to be low enough. So they have to raise property taxes, and that's causing issues there. And that would actually, if Trump actually ends up removing this funding, it's going to cause even more harm for the state of Chicago and might cause a political crisis to be untenable within the Chicago, resulting in them having to change their tune simply to get the money. It's not just Chicago that's having problems over funding and deficits. You see it with LA. You see it with pretty much all of California right now. So if you cut a lot of this funding, both to sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, they will have massive issues, and they'll have a large incentive to end up actually following immigration laws and actually helping ICE achieve their stated goal, the goal that the popular voter wanted forever. And this would be great if it works, especially since right now there's no reason to do it. In fact, I want Trump to go a lot harder than just this right now. This is a good start, but in my opinion, a lot of the times he should invoke the Insurrection Act at this point. Because now, just today, news came out of Minnesota. And Minnesota is going to sue the Twin Cities, sue the federal government to stop immigration crackdown. And this, at this point, this is sort of insurrection. Because they're trying to stop a federal operation from even happening within the state of Minnesota. They're suing the federal government, basically saying, we do not want any ICE here. And if you say that and you have, and that actually happens, then you're basically, the entire state is impeding the lawful operations of the federal government on the ground within their own state. And at that point, it can be seen as insurrection. And I would argue that Trump should have been doing that already. Additionally, it's not just this case of the Twin Cities. It's happening in other cities. Here's the chief of police in Philadelphia basically advocating for their local police to fight against ICE and fight to arrest and take ICE into custody. this is causing that's basically what she's saying. So let's actually watch the entire video of it.
Good afternoon. I'm Rochelle Ballard, sheriff for the city and county.
Oops, sorry about that. I listened to everything on 2x. So let's change that to here.
Of Philadelphia. And I say her name. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good.
That right there also is a little bit creepy to me because they're basically chanting her name. And it's basically, why be chanting someone's name that has attacked a law enforcement officer? And this is from a law enforcement officer herself. She's a member of law enforcement. And also the chanting really does seem like it's part of a cult, basically, because really only cults chant the names of particular people a lot of the times. And it's incredibly creepy to me here. And it makes no sense why to do it. So let's continue the video anyways.
This should not have happened, but we're here today. Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made-up ICE, probably Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States. Did you hear what I said? No law enforcement professional wears a mask.
That's blatantly false. First of all, ICE wears the masks simply because they've been attacked. There's been a 8,000% increase in death threats, 80 times the amount of death threats to ICE agents, and there's been a 1,400% increase in assaults on ICE agents. That's around a 14 times increase in assaults on ICE agents, 1,400. So that's why they cover their face up. It's to stop themselves from being attacked and threatened and their families being targeted by these radicals that continue to send death threats, assault ICE agents, and cause problems in our society. That's the only reason they're wearing them. Additionally, it's not just ICE agents that does that. It's also undercover agents doing operations where their family might be targeted if their face gets shown and their name goes out. It's not just ICE, FBI, CIA, all those other groups right there, federal law enforcement, even some local law enforcement when they're doing investigations into crime groups. Sometimes they wear masks too. So it's not just ICE officers. Additionally, there's people outside of law enforcement. The protesters wear masks. And you know why they wear masks? So their identity doesn't get shown, and they can't actually be arrested for the crimes because there's plausible deniability. So it's not just ICE here. There's other law enforcement. That's first of all, that's factually incorrect on her part.
None. Those that come into our communities wearing a mask to commit crime, thank God for our district attorney, Larry Krasner, who said he's going to lock them up. And I'm saying now, we are not.
So basically she's saying that if ICE comes in there and tries to take away someone that's been illegal, that has a history of actually committing crimes, that has done all the things that they've violated the law for, first of all, being in the nation. So basically what she's saying there is that she's gonna arrest ICE agents from doing their lawful duty of taking away illegal immigrants and deporting them back to their own country. This is basically an insurrection. This is a threat to federal agents and the federal rule of law. So honestly, right here, this is an example. Insurrection Act. Trump should do it. There's plenty of evidence. There's plenty of reasons. There's death threats against ICE agents in Minneapolis, LA. There's physical attacks on them. In fact, I have some videos of it right here. Here's an example. A protest actually shooting a firework at ICE agents.
Fuck you!
Right there. And guess what? If you look at the video. No arrests. Trump needs to go in and take and arrest these people that are committing actual crimes. A firework is a deadly weapon. You can easily get killed or cause seriously bodily harm with a rocket. In fact, I was right next to, on 4th of July, there was a rocket malfunction at a house that was a neighbor's house of my step family's grandparents' house. In fact, I saw the ambulance come by and everything. It can be a deadly weapon. And guess what? That person got severely injured, severely burned. So these could be deadly weapons. Any kind of explosive like that is a deadly weapon. You had no arrests, only shooting pellet bullets, no actual, only throwing tear gas. They're not doing anything here. Trump needs to go in because this is behavior that should not be allowed. And should not be allowed at any circumstances at all. And eventually someone will actually get killed in the situation. That, along with the fact that now, just like a couple minutes ago, 4,500 DHS and ICE agents have been doxxed. This is a national security threat. These people are now directly under threat from them and their families are now directly under threat from people that have shown clear intent to kill ICE agents, to cause them severe bodily harm, to threaten their life. At this point, Insurrection Act does need to be engaged. It's the only way to actually stop the violence that's going on from the left against ICE agents, against law enforcement, and actually take out all these groups that are causing issues. You saw it with the ICE Watch and how they're actually impeding investigations there. You see it where, with the fact that a lot of these local local politicians are encouraging this. You saw it with the Minneapolis mayor saying, "Get the fuck out of Minneapolis." You see it with plenty of other state, city level officials. You saw it just a previous example a minute ago of the police chief in Philadelphia practically threatening ICE agents. There is no reason at this point there's no reason at this point to be to in any way not invoke the Insurrection Act. Cities are rebelling. Minneapolis, LA, city and state level officials are threatening ICE agents, engaging in rhetoric that clearly shows their intent to rebel against the federal government. You saw it with Tim Walz and how he was basically saying he was at war with the federal government. At this point, there's nothing. There's no way that the Insurrection Act couldn't be invoked. Particularly within Minneapolis and also particularly in Philadelphia, because they actually have a video of those city level officials actually threatening to block federal investigations. So there's no way that Trump could not invoke the Insurrection Act. Although, this move from him, in my opinion, threatening to cut federal payments to sanctuary cities and states is a good move. It's not extreme enough. Insurrection Act does need to be invoked for this to stop in any way. Hopefully he does it soon. The thing is, he has not done it yet, and he still has all the legal justifications, so he's not being a strong leader in this situation. He's not doing what's right for the country. So he needs to do it, but he's not. Additionally, it's these people that at the local level that continue to threaten ICE agents. They're not actually just threatening ICE agents. They're causing more and more harm to the people in their own cities too. Because the more that they engage in rhetoric that results that rhetoric that promotes violence against ICE agents and promotes obstructing their legal and lawful duties, the more likely, the more conflicts there will be, the more interactions will be between the two groups that will increase the chance of actually Renee Good situation happening again. So it's not just for the safety of ICE agents and getting getting immigrants out of the country that aren't supposed to be here. It's also for their own safety of the people within these states. The more that they engage, the more politicians on the left engage in rhetoric that directly promotes blocking ICE agents, preventing their lawful duty, promotes threatening them, promotes doxing them, and other things that directly threaten lives of ICE agents and the people around them, the worse it's going to get for the public, and for the protesters overall. So Insurrection Act does need to be engaged for both the safety of the ICE agents and the people within their own cities. But at least this is a start. This is a start, but Trump needs to do more. What does everyone else think? Tell me in the comments if you disagree, agree, or have any other solutions that could possibly solve this problem. Anyway, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see everyone next time.